Are you ready to unleash your full potential and become unstoppable in your success and leadership?
Welcome to the Unleashed and Unstoppable podcast, where we provide powerful insights and strategies for coaches, corporate leaders, and entrepreneurs. I'm Alexanne Carter.
And I'm Carol Register, and we're certified master neurocoaches who are passionate about helping you overcome your limiting beliefs and optimize your performance.
Each week, we'll be sharing actionable tips and strategies using neuroscience, from interviews with industry experts to solo episodes, to help you lead a life of power, purpose, and possibility on your own terms.
Join our community of like-minded individuals. Hit subscribe now, and let's be unleashed and unstoppable together. Hey, widely ambitious leaders. Here we are again today. Oh my goodness, we've got Nina Pérez, and she calls herself a recovering shy girl. If you meet her, her charisma oozes, man. Talk about the attraction episode that you just heard. Well, this woman's got it. She's a connection coach. She's been featured in Forbes Women. She's a TEDx Energizer, an international best-selling author. And I happen to know that her book came right up to Mel Robbins, right? So congratulations, Nina. This is incredible. She has more than 40 years of dance experience and 25 years of teaching. And she's originally from Argentina, and I love Latin dance. You want to talk bachata, rumba, salsa, merengue. She's going to get you in the energy. And she discovered that the same principles that make somebody magical on the dance floor, magnetic on the dance floor, are also the ones that unlock your confidence, your charisma, your connection in business and life. And today she's got a company called dancetoday.fun and Connect to Thrive. And she teaches entrepreneurs and professionals how to embody strategic connection skills. And actually, I think that was a purposeful strip because, a purposeful slip. Sorry, I'm losing my brain is going faster than my tongue. And what I want to say is, because it's about us being unique, she helps us. And she really leans into body language, and converting that to charismatic conversation. So she's the host of the Confidence Community podcast, where she shares practical tools and insights on embodying confidence, nurturing social courage, and creating those authentic connections that open the doors to your very best life. I'm so excited that you're here, Nina. Thank you for being here. And I would love for you to share even more about you. Just dive in, because being in your presence and your energy has been such a gift. I have learned so much from you.
I'm so thrilled to be here, Carol and Alex. It is a strange thing nowadays, because we have AI, we have all these things that can make video for us, that can create things for us. And being our unique self, I feel like is becoming rare, like showing up authentically ourselves, turning the camera on and just showing up vulnerably, sharing our stories is kind of like, now that's the rare thing, because there's so much content being put out by AI. So I think it was a total, slip of the tongue that is true. Like, it's stranger to do that now. And it is so important. It's going to be the secret sauce, I feel, in this new age of AI and social media changing, that if we bring ourselves, our social courage to talk to anyone and share who we really are, what matters to us, our heart, then that is what's going to be remembered. And that is what's going to be connecting with you and your audience, or, the person you're meeting, like the neighbor, the love of your life, the new partnership, the strategic alliance, like whatever it is that you need to create in your life, you need that social courage, and you need to be yourself. So that's what I do. I help people go from self-doubt, imposter syndrome, being stuck, kind of playing small, to building their confidence, their charisma, and their social courage to get out there and connect with the world, be virtual or in person.
You know, Nina, I love your story. I've heard it before, and I would love it if you would share it with us here about being that shy girl, and then how in the world did you get to be a confidence and a charisma coach from being, which maybe what you would have considered a wallflower, standing
Yeah.
back.
I would have called myself the invisible before because I just wanted to be in the background. I was always hiding behind my parents when I was young, and I was really shy growing. I grew up shy. I was born shy. However, dance was like one of those divine intervention things in my life that my parents put me in dance class because they thought, well, maybe that'll help her kind of get a little bit out of her shell. And it did. I learned ballet and folklore, like flamenco. And then I learned tango. And that was a huge catalyst because tango, it's all about connection. It's all about the different energies that you can embody and create a piece of art with your partner. And then I learned salsa and so on. And so every dance helped kind of like uncover layers of me. And nobody believes me when I say, oh, I was shy. When they meet me in dance or in my speaking engagements or whatever, they're like, what? You seem like an extrovert. And I'm like, no, I have built myself. I have learned the skills. What you see still sometimes takes me time. Like before I do the next big thing, sometimes I really need to work with my tools and get into my confidence and tap into the different identities that I want to embody because it's not a natural thing for me.
What does that look like for you to tap into those tools? Because I've not only like been with you when you were on stage, you shared a stage that Jamie Kern Lima spoke on, Jesse Itzler spoke on. You got up and rocked it. You rocked the audience. We were all involved and engaged. And then I've seen you, in your area out in public spaces and big parks teaching dance to huge groups of people. Yeah, what tools do you use to lean in to do this?
Oh my God, being on that stage was so much fun. And I wanted to do something different. I wanted to have an experience because I feel like when you are looking at changing your state or embodying a different energy, you need to create an experience for yourself. You can't just tell yourself, okay, now you're going to be confident, or now you're going to be the CEO or the podcaster. You need to create an experience where your body feels viscerally something different. And so when I was on stage, I created like an eye contact experience. And that is a great way to connect with other people when you can look at somebody else's eyes and just have that moment. Now,
Nice.
in the stage, I made people look at each other for a couple of seconds. You don't do that in real life where you stare at people. There is nuances, right? But being able to hold eye contact, to be able to look at people in the eyes as you're walking in your life, or that will create an experience for you about how you feel moving through your life. But when I want to get ready into a new energy, when I want to embody a certain identity, I do create an experience around it. That might be with music, that might be with breath, that might be with even eye contact in the mirror and talking to myself in a way that makes me feel like a different feeling and excited or stronger, or I feel like, yeah, I'm proud of myself because I just shared some stories with myself, looking at myself in the mirror, and that created an experience for me. So I do feel that there is a lot of knowledge around confidence and charisma, but there's not so much practical how to. And that is the important missing link, that you don't need to just know, but you need to know how to do it. You need to know how to embody what you are listening or hearing or understand by reading a book or watching a video,
Alex,
and practically move yourself through that.
one of the reasons her speech was so memorable was because not only did she do that eye contact exercise, but she had us up and moving. And so I remember this room of 300 to 500 people, however many were there, that were all moving and engaged and excited and participating. And you gave us a freedom through that invoked confidence, like we were in our happy places with you, which is really cool.
Great
Oh,
experience. audience, right? Like as you were creating that for yourself. And I wanted to point in on something that you said, because I think it's really, really important when we think of confidence. And this ties into what we were talking before, Carol, right, about that attraction piece.
Yeah.
We tend to think about the other people, right? We want to feel confident because we expect that this confidence is going to create this thing outside of us. What I'm hearing you say, Nina, is that it's and not in a bad way if it's selfish, but it's like making a selfish experience. What do you want to experience, right? Because you experience this body movement, you're going to cause a ripple effect. But I think that's part of like, I think this is what Carol and I have really been leaning into the last couple of weeks, is like really having the mind shift of like, we tie so much on the outside of us, but we get to flip it and like focus so much more in of like, what experience will I get to have here? Because I know like I am someone that I can experience some social anxiety. I personally choose, I always like to be like the first person there, because me walking into a room sometimes makes me feel uncomfortable, right? So I love how the self courage that you're talking about are it was like
social courage.
the social courage. I really like that really landed for me when you said that, right? But I realized because it's me looking outward. I'm thinking outward in terms of I don't want to walk into this room of all these people because I'm thinking about what they're thinking. I'm focusing out about judgments, or again, right, what's going on like subconsciously, versus making about me like how, like what great experience that I get to experience and I get to walk into and see like all of these people that I get to connect with, right? So I'm just it's like a shift in that dialogue in terms of intention that is being set, and the experience. Like I got challenged one time because of what this came up for me to go on to be curious and to learn new, it was like to walk away with 20 new fun facts or something like that, right?
Mm-hmm.
Right? Like, and
That's
so I
a
love
great thing to do. Yeah.
it's changing the intention, and the intention is so powerful in leadership.
Oh my God. Mm-hmm.
I can't wait to learn more from you, because it really, wow. Like I honestly, like as soon as you started talking, just like I felt even in myself, like, wow, we really get to change the story and experience that not only we're creating for ourselves, but now the people, and like packed. I'm literally imagining like all those hundreds of people like interacting with each other, right? Like, oh my goodness, you said it, Carol. It brings the joy. It brings the happy. Changing this, but my next question is like you said identities. I heard plural when you said like the different identities. So I'd love to hear a little bit more of the different identities, and I don't know, maybe it's linked to all these different dances that you happen to do, but yeah, like maybe how do you choose the identity? How is it that you come up with multiple identities, right? Because we have to talk about identity as like as a single, right? Yeah. So let's just like identities and how each, I'm sure, probably experiences something different, right? As you're showing up in them.
You're so insightful, Alex, because nobody has ever picked up on that. A lot of people, the two things, the experience of yourself is the one thing, and then the identities. So the experience of the self, a lot of people sometimes, this is what I hear a lot, I don't want to fake it. I feel like I'm faking it. And that's when people are actually doing what you're saying, kind of thinking about the other people. And they're like, oh, I need to show up like this so that then we can have a conversation and so on. And that's the whole idea of fake it till you make it. And I do not believe in that at all. I actually say, feel it till you believe it. Like feel it till you become it. And so that's your inner experience. If you feel a certain way, then other people are also going to feel that energy. So intentionality is so important. Being intentional about what it is that I want to experience. Like you've hit it on the nail. I'm so happy because this is the kind of conversation I want to have with people. It's not fake it till you make it. It's about you feeling. And then over time, you're going to feel like that is me. That is like it's natural to me now to be more social because I feel fun and playful. And this is where it ties into the identity. I sometimes have to choose the identity of playful and fun. And so, or like a present mom, or I need to choose the identity of a capable CEO or a inspirational speaker. And that's why there's more than one, because it depends on the context. It depends on what I'm trying, what's my intention, what I want to create, what is the connection that I'm looking for here in this moment. And so that we have all the sides of ourselves. That's what I learned in dance, that I could dance and be passionate, or I could be melancholic, or I can be playful or fun. I could be sexy. Dance really helped me kind of tap into the different sides of me that I didn't know they were there. I just thought I'm a shy girl. That's what I thought. And that was my full identity. But dance helped me tap into different identities, different energies. And sometimes I was a leader, sometimes I was a follower, like sometimes I was the male figure in ballet, sometimes I was the female, right? I was the leader follow. And so it just helped me like expand my mind about who I was. And then this one book called The Dark Side of the Light Chasers by Debbie Ford. She talks about we are all the identities, like we are all sides of ourselves. And when you notice something in someone else, that you are that too. And so that was the, oh, this is the psychology behind what I know in dance. And then taking it further to, I can tap into this depending on who I'm speaking with, what I'm doing, and feel a different energy of that intention, of that vibration, of that context that I want to embody. And so that's how I use the different identities. I think about, well, what's the next part of my life? What's happening next? What can I create for myself so I can experience those feelings? Yeah. So when I think like inspirational speaker, I actually need to inspire myself first. So I will read some stories that inspire myself. I will watch some things that make me like, oh, I remember this is why this is important. And then I think, okay, that I feel that I can be that, I am that. And then I go and I do my next segment, my speech or whatever. So creating that inner experience, choosing the identity, all part of it.
You drew out a couple of things for me right there that I think are so important. The ability to really lean in and inspire yourself, going internal first, knowing what you need, putting your oxygen mask on first in order to be able to give and serve other people in the powerful ways that you do. You also remind me that like so often our greatest gifts can be our greatest dysfunction. So here you were, and not necessarily that being shy was dysfunctional. It was what it was for the time it was meant to be, but thank goodness that you didn't stay there, because I've been in several groups with you, and I've been with you in person. Your charisma shines. You are a spark plug. You are a light. You are an inspiration, and you feel that energy when you're in that presence. And it comes across virtually too. Like Alex and I, the virtual world doesn't even stop that energy. It even enhances it more in many ways. So there's this going from being shy to being the confidence and charisma coach that you are, and actually walking in that energy with you. That's so powerful. One of the ways I like to put it is often we're believing the lies. And when in reality, it's not fake it till you make it. It is changing what wasn't your truth back to what your truth is. And being really you, right? Being truly you. And we get this idea that because we've thought it this way for so long, that that's our truth, but that's not what the truth is. The truth is what you're starting to embody, and the way you put that in the categories of the different personalities, being fully present in those each unique aspects that make up all of you, the total you. It's so powerful, and so beautiful. So anyway, I'm just again, you're a spark plug. You're a spark plug for leaning into our own gifts, our own strengths, our own light. And by you doing that and being that, even without saying a word, you're inviting that in each of us. And then on top of it, through your coaching and mentoring, we can go a lot deeper.
Yeah, and you said something that reminded me that if it wasn't for my parents, like that there's always people that help you along the way. And you said something about like when we were together in the speech, I don't know, we were in some mastermind, we were together, and how you felt that. I do feel that it's so important to acknowledge, like without my parents putting me in dance, I wouldn't be here, right? I wouldn't be in front of the camera. I wouldn't be talking to you guys. I wouldn't have had that journey. That there's always people that help us. And this is why I call it social courage. Like we don't need courage. We do need courage, not just courage. We also need social courage. You need to speak with people. You need to share. You need to, have those exchanges of connection and see what comes around, what happens. And this is so important. I feel like we always need to be around people that elevate us, that make us feel different, that challenge us. And what you said about the lies and the truth, I learned that in your program. I had, for the audience here, I've had the privilege of training with both of these amazing ladies. And Carol and her program, the Diamond Transformation, you taught me about that, not believing the lies that sometimes your mind says, and that you need to bring yourself to truth. And sometimes when people think about affirmations, they think those are the lies, but no, those are the truth, right? And so changing that idea made a huge difference in my life. So I really thank you. And with Alex, I remember the last training you did about really understanding that the truth is that it's done. That when you want something, you guys were talking about attraction, it's already done the moment you desire it. I'm like, wow, that's the truth. I want to believe that truth, right? And it's not a lie that it's done. And it's so important, again, because of you ladies, I understand those things. I have changed my life because of those things. That is what I mean by like social courage, getting out there, meeting, connecting with people, and then amazing things can happen when you are around other people.
Yeah, it's so true.
I'd love to speak into a little bit about more of the social courage. What's coming up for me, like a big, and it's funny how I think we don't really realize this, but one big shift for me when I moved to Panama is that everything became in person again, right? In Calgary, everything was very virtual. And then all of a sudden I came here and everything was in person. And I was kind of just thrown into it. I was immersed in it. I wasn't making an intent. It just naturally happened. And I'm really so grateful that it did. But it's very interesting. I noticed I was more resistant to that, right? And what had me realize, like just upon reflection, is like what happened over the last several years created us where we were so used to having so much in-person connection. Then we all pivoted online. Now our brain, what's safe and familiar to our brain is to have this virtual connection. And now people desire to have the in-person, but there's these fears, right? There's the unknown. This social anxiety has greatly, I believe, increased in a lot of people. So again, why I'm loving this topic and this social confidence is phenomenal, right? Like I kind of just got thrown in the deep end and I learned to swim again because I knew how to swim, right? And that
It's like doggy paddle. Yeah.
it's very, it's fascinating. I've done a lot of reflection on this, and I'm really curious with your clients, Nina, just looking at the past several years and what you're noticing that you're really supporting clients with. And, is this something that you're also noticing just, in general of how do we empower, the leaders that are listening today? Because this is what's crazy. I literally had a conversation just a few hours ago with a great friend of mine and a powerful leader. And she was sharing with me something very similar in terms of she's noticing there's this gap, like there's something missing for her right now. And it's that social connection. And yet extremely difficult because it's been so, it's like, how do we reimmerse ourselves into this whole aspect? Like, because I'm hearing about the talking connection, how do we, like, I think we all know how to jump onto Zoom, and we all know this now, right? And how to go to breakout rooms and stuff. But how do we reimmerse ourselves into these social gatherings? How do we tap into this social confidence if we now have a different story that we've lost or we forget how to socialize and like all this inner dialogue around this, because it might have been a while since you have really experienced those experiences.
I love this question. So how is a small step at a time? Okay. Just like in dancing, you learn all the basic steps first before you do something crazy. in when you have that experience when you're like, I feel a little bit more anxious about going in person now, or whatever it is, even if it's like you just going to the next level of your life, you're like, I have no problem speaking in front of 100 people, but now 1,000 people, and now you're going to feel that anxiety. It's for all high achievers, it happens. The next level, you're like, oh, right. And then there's that like desire to lean back or to play small or to be like, I'll do it next time, later, another time, right? So we don't want to kind of like small t traumatize our nervous system by pushing ourselves so far out of the comfort zone. I tell my clients, like, you got to go baby steps. You need to, like, if you're having a hard time going to networking events, just look at networking events and choose your favorite. Don't even go yet. Like, just start creating a habit of looking at events and being like, oh, that's interesting, or that, and start creating a story, a different story, instead of I'm going to get drained at the networking event. How about I'm going to meet the next person that's going to change maybe the course of my entire life. I wonder who I'm going to meet, right? Like, now you're telling yourself a different story. You're not even going to the event yet. You're just doing the baby step of creating an experience of inspiration to go to the event, reframing, right? And so that's what I tell my clients. You really need to go small step at a time and let your nervous system kind of catch up to, okay, we're doing this and it doesn't feel comfortable. How can we slowly make it comfortable? And I have noticed that since COVID and all these things, we went online, there is even extroverted people are like, I don't know if I want to go out there. And that's why I spent a lot of time working on the self-confidence, the connection with yourself. I call it self-connection. And just helping yourself be kind to yourself, like reframe your thoughts. What will get you to be like excited versus anxious? And then the second little tip would be start changing what you do when you do get out there, like one small way. So instead of being worried about what am I going to say, how about I'm going to try a new question. Like, I have a whole powerful questions guide, and there are all these questions you can try. I'm going to try this one question, and I'm going to ask, what do you do? And then I'm going to say, what do you love about what you do? And then people are going to have a different answer. They're going to have a different moment with you there. And that's just changing one question. So again, really small steps so that your nervous system and your brain is like on board. That wasn't so hard. I didn't die. Everything's going well. And that was fun. Let's do that again. Right. And so, yeah, small steps goes a long way. Mm-hmm.
I love that. I love the quality of our lives depended on the quality of our questions, a questions guide. Yeah. Your sound cut out. Say it again, Alex.
Out of my mouth. I was just about to say that. I literally was.
Yes, it's so powerful, right? Like, literally, just that question that you gave us to walk into a room with, I mean, that's a total focus shift right there that is so simple, like you were saying. And, for me, it looks like giving myself permission to take up presence in a room. I give myself that permission. I deserve to take up presence. I deserve to take up space. And so just these like subtle shifts of knowing the baby steps that we can take, and then baby steps compound, they stack, they build on each other, but yeah, the quality of our lives depended on the quality of our questions for sure. What led you into doing a question guide?
Well, because a lot of people had that, they're like, I just don't know what to say. And I don't know how to start a conversation. Or after we say where you're from and what we do, like, I don't know what to do next, right? And so people, that's the anxiety they were feeling. Like, I don't know how to navigate. I call this conversation agility. Like, you need to know how to navigate a conversation and sometimes lead it in the direction that is more productive, like instead of a divisive direction. Sometimes it's about leading a conversation where it can be more connecting. So when you can really get to know someone's values, all of that comes from the quality of the questions. And then that conversation will change. So yeah, it was people's worry about what do I say? And then the second part of that, so once you know how to ask good questions, also you need to know how to answer those questions. So when you learn these questions, you have to be ready to answer these questions yourself. And this is a great exercise to like answer it yourself in the mirror, because you want to start telling like a story. Like, instead of answering with like one answer or two facts. Tell a story of like why and why you love this or why you're doing that and what is important to you. And then people start getting to know you, your heart, and your in this conversation. It'll be memorable. It'll be different than all the 100 conversations they just had with everybody else, and now
Love
nobody remembers anything. Right.
Yeah. 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 Making say sorry, your sound cut out. Say it again.
Short answer questions. It's like, what do you do? It's like one word. What do you like about that? Da-da-da. Like it's like, yeah, to like create to be more interesting and to have some more rich dialogue and to get deeper. One of our mentors, Carol, Christina Jindali, I remember her always because it was a conversation I had a lot with her as well, right? Like with being in person as well or networking events. I think sometimes we feel like we need to have a conversation with everybody, right?
Right.
And I think that's why, for me, if there's only one or two people when I walk into a room, it's easier to start those conversations because, again, this is the stories we make in our mind about these conversations. Where I remember her always talking about just having one powerful conversation, right? And you're reminding me of this, Nina. But it's the quality. It's not the quantity. It's the quality of. And even you said it. I mean, there could be one person in that room, and I know we interviewed some other people too. Carol have talked about like the connection, and it's just,
Yeah.
I know for me, the work that I've done is like changing that story, right? Changing the story about when
Yeah.
you walk in, about it being about the quality, about being curious, right? And getting to really know people. And that shift, it's experience. It goes back to, it's the full circle of the experience. What experiencing are you setting for yourself? And what experience would you like to create for other people who are getting to know you, right?
Yeah.
I have a funny story about that, like changing the story. My son, when he was 2 or 3, he was scared of the dryer, in the bathroom where you dry your hands. And I started calling it the tickle machine. I was like, "You're scared of the tickle machine?" And he looked at me like, "What?" And so I'm like, "Look." And I start laughing while I'm drying my hands. And he was like scared, but then he put his hands and then he started laughing. And then from then on, we would always dry our
I
hands in the tickle
love
machine.
that.
And it created an experience for him and it created an experience for me. We had a blast and it was changing the story because he was like, "It's loud. I don't know. What is that?
Yeah. What's going on?
Air? What's going on?" Like he was little. He was so cute. And changing that story and also creating an experience around it that is positive because sometimes we change the story, but we don't again create the visceral feelings, and that's why it's so important to embody confidence. It's not just knowing it. You really need to change how you feel about it. And so with us together, we changed the experience of the tickle machine, and to this day we laugh about it. He still can tap into that playful feeling, and me too. And for me it's a reminder, like, I need to change my story. Whenever things are feeling like not right or something's not going well, I'm like, I need to change the story and change the experience that
Yeah.
I want about that.
That's so powerful. It brings me back to some of the things that I did with my daughter too. And Alex, having young ones, I'm sure you can think of some things you've done to shift their perspectives. And but that's so cute. Now I'm going to remember the tickle machine. So
The perception. It's shifting the perception, right? Like I always think about the 6 and the 9 on the card, right? Like I could look at it and see the 6 and you can look at it and see the 9. We're both, right? It's just a perception. You turn around, you see something else. And so that does that reminder of the perception. And again, we just got to change the story. If we're making up the story about the situation, we are in control of the ability to change the story. And I love the playfulness. I think just that reminder of the playfulness of that experience, of the playfulness, of having fun and joy, right? A lot of times I think we make it so serious, right? It's like we just get to be authentic, connected, joyful, playful, and have fun with it and get to enjoy people's time and being with them and whatever you get to develop, whether it be virtually or in person. But I definitely want to do a encouragement because I know Carol has definitely spent a lot more time in person, a lot of events in the last little while, and now myself, and I'm seeing a massive shift. And then just at that beauty of being in person with people again, right? Like this is fantastic. I love that we can connect from all around the world, and there's nothing like being in person. So embody your confidence, like with other people and your social confidence. And I would just challenge the listener today to really look at where do I get to stretch myself and invite myself to step into that and to baby steps, right? Taking baby steps at a time, but to really experience that and create an experience. So beautiful, Nina. I don't know. This conversation just lit me up today because it's
Yeah. Nina, I want to ask, I know we mentioned some of the things in the intro that you've been a part of. Talk a little bit about what you've been up to in terms of your masterclass and what we can gain from that.
Yeah, so I look at connection in the three buckets. You got to work on your confidence, right? You got to work on your charisma. And when I say work on, I mean like be able to bring that out and then your communication skills, right? So like what you say and your body language. So I have a masterclass called The Three Secrets of Connection. And I go into like embodying confidence because what you said, Alex, is right. Like I feel like people don't go far enough. Like they sometimes will talk to themselves, maybe change the narrative in their head, but they don't go far enough to feel different. And so that's where it's unsustainable. And the way to make it sustainable is that you need to create what I call rituals of radiance. You need to create habits around these things. So you're not just doing it when you need it, you're doing it all the time. And that really builds like your baseline goes higher. And now you're like, I feel this confident all the time, because you have this ritual around confidence and you really feel it in your body and you're not forgetting about your body because your body's going to stop you. Right? Like if you're feeling fearful, if your amygdala is activated, it's going to stop you. So you really need to make sure your body's on board. And a lot of times we just stay in our heads and we don't come down to our hearts. We don't come down to our body and really change the feeling. So I do a lot of work around embodying confidence. And in that masterclass, I talk about the secret of how to make it sustainable. Which is all around creating amazing habits and rituals of radiance. The second bucket is charisma. I find that a lot of people think, I hear this all the time, I'm not charismatic. I'm not that. Like I don't want to be the social butterfly. And I used to say these things myself because I didn't want to be the social butterfly. And I was a bit of a paradox because I would be dancing and people expected that that's how I was going to be. But after I danced or I taught my lesson, I would be fine with just being alone or just like, going away. Like I didn't want to socialize. And it took me a while to choose my like flavor of charisma. And the thing about charisma is that it's two ingredients. It's your warmth and your competence. And you need to figure out how to share those two ingredients in your flavor of charisma so that people will perceive you as charismatic, but it doesn't have to be up here. It could be this level of charisma where you're like warm and competent at this level and you're just like a really relatable thought leader. You're quiet, introverted, it's fine, but you're relatable and people can feel you. That's charisma. So we see it all the time. We see Trevor Noah, Simon Sinek, all different flavors, Oprah, all different flavors of charisma. And none of them are the same, right? So that's the second idea, that understanding you are charismatic. You just need to know how to bring out your warmth and your competence, that you are capable, that you are trustworthy, reliable. That's competence. And then the third thing is this idea of like, charismatic communication. How do you, with your body language, show your warmth and competence so that people, without you saying anything, can feel safe around you and can feel like she knows her stuff? You haven't done anything. You just walked in the room, but they're like, I want to talk to her. I want to talk to him, right? So that is your body language of warmth and competence. And then your conversation agility. Like, how do you speak in the conversation? How do you navigate the conversation so that you are leaving people with this feeling of, that was a great conversation, but I learned a lot. Or I like her energy, and I am so excited about this possibility, this opportunity. We're going to do this summit, we're going to do podcasts. Like, it's productive and it also is connecting. So that's what I do. I teach this in the masterclass and kind of change people's mindset around these ideas of confidence, charisma, and communication so that they can more easily connect with other people and it doesn't feel so hard. Mm-hmm. Stop having awkward small talks that kills connection. The solution is knowing how to ask powerful questions. I have a free guide for you that walks you through how to ask wonderful questions that people want to answer, that people are going to be like, that's a great question. I have to think about this. And it's all in my powerful free guide for you. These are going to be questions that you can ask other people, but also questions that you can ask yourself to go deeper into your own self-awareness. Get the free guide.
I really feel like this is you leaning into answering the last question we asked about how do you help people to be unleashed and unstoppable. And I feel like you just tied that together for us in ways that we can do that. Anything you'd like to add to that as we wrap up?
I always say it's time to connect to thrive. And that's my company's name because I feel like when you connect with people, you will thrive. Like I was a single mom for many years, and people were always wondering how come I had so many babysitters and how come I could date and dance lessons, and like how come I could do all these things when a lot of times single moms are like, stuck at home, they're like not thriving. And I was like, well, because I connect with people and I help people, they help me, and I have a community around me. And so I was able to thrive as a single mom because I was connecting, right? Same with business. When COVID happened and I was like, oh, okay, my coaching business kind of exploded during COVID because my dance school had been shut down and everybody's like, I feel disconnected. So let's talk about connection. And again, how did that happen? Because I was still connecting with people via Zoom and meeting people and being like, how can we collaborate? And so connect to thrive, right? So that's what I would leave people. If you're like a little bit worried or you feel like, I don't know what to do to go to the next level, or I'm feeling a certain way, find ways to think, okay, like have a good story around connection. And that when you go out there, you put yourself out there and you connect with people, you will thrive. And what is connection? It's just having the social courage to be yourself in front of someone else. Just be yourself in front of someone else, and the right people will gravitate towards you, and the wrong people will be like turned off. Great. Awesome. You don't waste your time. And if you connect with a lot of people, you will thrive, or just keep connecting more than you are, and you'll notice that your life will change.
Thank you so much, Nina. That was what a powerful answer. And we are going to have Nina's contact info and her links in the in our show notes, so that you can get in touch with her. Definitely go to her masterclass. It is phenomenal. And I'm so glad you were here today. And I know that Alex feels the same way. Yeah.
It was such an enlivening conversation, you guys. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Favorite social that you're on where you'd like the listener to connect with you?
I'm on LinkedIn. So connect with Nina on LinkedIn. I'm on Instagram, connect with Nina. It's like a double entendre. It's not just connect with me, but it's also learn to connect with Nina. So yeah.
Oh, well, we've loved having you, and thank you so much for this info. We will see you all next week. We will talk to you next week, and have a great, great week. Ciao for now.
Bye, everyone.
Thanks for tuning in to another episode of the Unleashed Unstoppable podcast with your hosts, Alexandra Carter and Carol Register.
If you enjoyed this episode and you'd like to help support the podcast, please share it with others. Post about it on social media, or leave a rating and review, and subscribe.
That's all for this episode, Wildly Ambitious Leaders. See you next week.